What's up guys, Mike here, the Detroit Borg, and it's finally that time of the year to take a look back at 2013 to see what Apple did throughout the year and what my personal top 5 picks are from that year. So before we get to the top 5, let's recap, starting off with the MacBook lineup. So the MacBook Airs were the first to get updates in the spring. They gained Intel Haswell processors, faster PCI storage, 802.11ac Wi-Fi, and dual microphones. Now, more importantly, these changes significantly increase battery life, but the designs otherwise are unchanged. Now, the MacBook Pros with Retina display received the same upgrades in fall, but gained Thunderbolt 2 and Iris-integrated graphics, while cutting the base price on both sizes significantly, although it came at the expense of standard dedicated graphics on the 15-inch model. Now, the 13-inch model was slightly redesigned, so it did get a little thinner and a little lighter. Now, the iMacs were also quietly updated in the fall with Haswell, faster PCI storage, and 802.11ac Wi-Fi, while the Mac Mini wasn't touched at all for 2013. Now, there is also the new Mac Pro, which is the only all-new Mac this year, which arrived on my doorstep on New Year's Eve, which barely makes it a 2013 product in my list. We also saw the launch of an all-new Airport Extreme and Airport Time Capsule, which adopted a taller design to support 802.11ac Wi-Fi with 6 antennas, which supports beamforming. Now, the iPad Air and iPad Mini with a Retina display also debuted at the end of the year, which followed the debut of the classic iPhone 5C and the 5S, which introduced us to Touch ID, the 64-bit A7 CPU, and Gold. Now, the only news on the iPod lineup this year was the addition of the 16GB version of the Ipod Touch 5G, which strips away the camera, iPod loop, and color options. This dropped the base price to $229 and was upgradable to iOS 7, unlike the now discontinued Ipod Touch 4G, which was cheaper at $199. Now, in terms of software, iOS 7 introduced an all-new look and some very useful new features, which we'll talk about later. Now, conversely, OS X Mavericks, or 10.9, was a minor update, which brought iBooks and Apple Maps to the desktop, integrated iCloud Keychain to save passwords and credit cards, Finder tabs and tags, updated mail and calendar apps, and useful improvements such as automatic app updates, a more powerful notification system which added website updates and actionable notifications, and all of this for the low price of free, which is a first for an OS X release. Apple also made its iLife and iWork apps free to new devices running both iOS 7 and OS X Mavericks, while iCloud.com was completely redesigned, which added web-based versions of Pages, Numbers, and Keynote. Apple also launched a bunch of new accessories for the iPads and the iPhone. So the iPads got new smart covers and smart cases. So finally, the iPad Mini got a smart case. The iPhone 5S got some leather cases, and the iPhone 5C got some new polyurethane cases, which were ridiculed quite heavily when they launched because of their unique design with the holes in the back, which allowed the color to shine through but also obscured part of the iPhone name. We also finally got a dock accessory for the 5S and 5C. So without further ado, let's go ahead and count down my top 5, starting off with number 5, the iPad Mini with Retina display, which brings us the pixel density of an iPhone and the screen resolution of a full-size iPad powered by an A7 CPU, and it's only slightly thicker and heavier than the non-Retina iPad Mini, which is now cheaper at $299. It's also a massive spec leap over the last generation iPad Mini. So this is effectively the iPad I've always wanted. It's the perfect size with no compromise on the specs, and it's basically a shrunken iPad Air, except it really isn't. The iPad Air still has a slightly faster CPU, and more importantly, has a screen with a noticeably better display with richer color and a more vibrant experience. It's also fairly expensive for a high-resolution small tablet at $399 and is only $100 cheaper than the now much smaller and lighter iPad Air. So this ranks behind the iPad Air, so we're going to have to wait a little later to run into that one. For number 4, I've chosen iOS 7, which is the controversial bottom-up redesign of iOS, which eliminates skeuomorphism for a flatter, more cohesive design, which also is more colorful and vibrant. The design changes also makes heavy use of transparency as a navigational aid and parallax to add some depth to the home screen. Now, some of the most important new features includes Control Center for quick access to often used features and settings, an all-new Notification Center with a Today tab, which integrates traffic, weather, calendars, and stocks, new multitasking with intelligent background updating, and an easier way of closing down apps. We also have a new camera interface with new features, along with a new photo gallery app. We also gain AirDrop for sharing files between iOS devices in close proximity, iCloud Keychain for syncing passwords and credit cards, iTunes Radio for free music streaming, and an improved Siri with an all-new voice. Now, the jury is still out on iOS 7, but I'm a big fan of the redesign and the features it adds, especially Control Center. iOS 7 still has stability problems and the animations feel like they slow down the interface quite a bit, but I think iOS 7 has made a brave leap forward with a design that matches the hardware that it's installed on and features that no longer leave me unsatisfied with iOS. For number 3, I've chosen the iPhone 5S. Now, essentially, the 5S is a mid-cycle update of the iPhone 5, so the form and design is mostly unchanged, but the new features and technology are still significant and innovative. The 5S introduces a True Tone dual LED flash, which is a unique innovation in smartphones, coupled with a new camera sensor, which is still 8 megapixels but is now larger for better low-light performance. The 5S camera also is capable of 120 frames per second video recording, which is good for slow motion effect. More significantly, the iPhone 5S adds a powerful new 64-bit A7 CPU and Touch ID, which is currently limited to unlocking the phone and buying stuff in the iTunes and App Stores. And of course, the 5S is available in gold, which is a new color which was in very short supply when it launched. Although not terribly new to look at, the iPhone is still one of Apple's most innovative and polished products, and it remains one of my favorite smartphones of 2013, and it's still my daily driver. For number 2, I've chosen the iPad Air, which is now much thinner, lighter, and more compact than before. It also gains dual MIMO Wi-Fi antennas, dual microphones, stereo speakers, improved cameras, and the new A7 chip. Now, generally speaking, the iPad Air doesn't really bring anything new to the table, but it's significantly more usable. The iPad has always been a little too heavy and bulky to use comfortably, so it's no small feat to drop the iPad's weight down to 1 pound, make it pencil thin, all while retaining the Retina display, a more powerful CPU, and a smaller battery, which still retains the same battery life. The iPad Air is a massive leap over the iPad 4th generation, not by adding features, but by being better. So for me, the full-size tablet finally makes sense thanks to the iPad Air. And for number 1, I've chosen the Mac Pro. It's a clear statement from Apple that it can still innovate even in the boutique Pro desktop market. The Mac Pro is a fraction of the size of the outgoing tower and is built around a thermal core with a single fan for efficient and quiet cooling. It comes with standard dual GPUs and your choice of 4, 6, 8, or 12-core Xeon CPUs with high-speed PCIe flash storage and ECC memory up to 64 gigs. It also incorporates 6 Thunderbolt 2 ports for high-speed peripherals and an illuminated I/O panel. And all of this comes in a precision-made chassis with a removable shell, and it's all assembled in the USA. The Mac Pro is the ultimate merger of design finesse, precision manufacturing, high-end workstation power, all while retaining a compact, portable form factor. Now, while it may never sell in high volumes, I've never been this excited for any device I reviewed previously. So definitely the Mac Pro is my top device of 2013. Alrighty guys, so as you know, I've reviewed every single Apple product in 2013 and I will continue to do so for 2014, so please stay tuned and I really look forward to sharing with you everything that's coming. So thanks for watching and I'll see you again in the next one.